Here with another exercise in the counter rotation series that I use. And this one's called prone lateral ball roll. So you may have seen the previous exercise called the supine lateral ball roll, supine meaning on your back. Prone lateral ball roll means we're on our stomach. Another great exercise. Once again, I learned this one about 25 years ago from Paul Check. Foundational exercise, use it all the time to this day. And very similar to the supine lateral ball roll. This one looks incredibly simple and like it is not going to be doing much. And that's true if you do it wrong. It seems really, really easy if you do it wrong. If you do it right and make sure that you are sticking to the details and the instructions, it's actually far more challenging than it looks. So probably show you from the slide again here. So again, Swiss ball size is important. For me, this would probably be the smallest Swiss ball that I would use. I could go bigger as well. So you're going to get on the ball with your chest on the ball. Now, normally you'll have your chin on the ball. I'll be picking my head up a little bit more to be able to talk. But you want to hug the ball. You want to make sure you're not hugging the ball underneath so you don't go over your hands. Hug the ball in the front. Chest is on the ball. Hips are on the ball. And we can actually create a little bit of a pelvic tilt to get that neutral pelvis that we want in our stance on the ball. So we're not here with it, we're more here with it. Heads down on the ball. Okay, feet are separated a little bit. You know, you can play with the exact width of your stance that you have when you're standing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to roll as far as we can one side. We're going to hold as far as we can the other side. And we hold. Now it looks super simple, but much like the supine lateral ball roll, as I get to the outside of the curve on that rotation, my brain is going to want to counter rotate my hips in to make it easier, which we do not want because it actually turns off our core and it programs that counter rotation that we don't want when we load. So what the brain will want me to do on this is as I roll to this side, it will actually want me to turn my hips, to open my hips, and to turn it back into the middle of the ball. You have to be incredibly conscious of whether that's going on or not, because I've explained this to many people. I've made sure that they understand it, and they'll go to execute it, and the innate signaling from the brain is so strong that they'll go into counter rotation and swear that they're not counter rotating. So whether you have somebody maybe watching you to spot you, to make sure that what you're feeling is right, because you can't really see it. Either way, just make sure that we're programming good information in. So once again, I'm rolling, I'm turning my hips with me, okay? So I'm turning 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. If you do it, you'll understand that there's a tremendous amount of activation in the obliques. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and back to the middle. Okay, again, turning the hips with me. And again, turning the hips with me. So what this is important for is as we rotate, especially if we're on our knees, but also if we're standing, is that when we're down and we want to push, we want to make sure that as quickly as possible, as we see that puck and turn on it, that we're able to gain access, not so much thinking from the front side of the hip, but it's the back side. The back side will have any part of our body on our rotation that's on our back side will always have a less of a mechanical advantage. The front side's easy. It's the center of the arc. It's going to have a physiological advantage. It's the outside of the arc that has a tendency to get left behind by a lot of people, right? So on this one here, if I'm kind of sort of virtual realitying the exercise on my feet, as I turn, I'm holding that ball and I'm turning here, but I'm also activating my oblique. So I'm turning that hip with me. Obviously in skate, you'd be turning with your feet, but I'm turning here. It's that backside activation of the oblique. That's what really is the value in this exercise. And whether I'm on my knees and I'm pushing here, so it would be very similar to if I was turning on my knees and I was going to go load, it's not having that hip drag behind. So now the hips are actually I'll see the hips facing in the exact opposite direction that we want to push into when we make that read. So activation of the backside oblique is paramount to being able to connect what you're seeing here to being able to now all of a sudden, I've done the same movement with my foot, but my hip now is pointing in the direction that I'm going. The difference between this and this is hundredths of a second, not just 1/100th of a second, it's hundredths of a second for you getting there. And also the tendency is when you make one mistake, there'll be other compensation mistakes that go along with it. So as you turn this away, the shoulders turn away, the hand usually gets behind you just because that's sort of the natural chain of events. And now you feel like you're behind and you're having to catch up and you're kind of more desperation mode. Whereas opposed to if you can train yourself to fire everything properly, you see that puck, you make the read, you almost, when your head goes this way, you almost feel like you're activating that oblique automatically. Now you're here, you're on the puck, time slows down, you have so much more access to it. So a simple exercise, but very, very valuable. Once again, perfect execution. Make sure you go over the instructions, enjoy this exercise, and we'll see you again soon.